to the Blue Heart Podcast. I am your host, Sisagelo Nzema. It's an exciting time once again to be with you and hosting another episode of our Blue Heart Podcast. I think even today we're more than excited to have a guest who is backed by popular demand, or should I say backed by negotiation. He needs no introduction. He is a pastor. He is a social scientist and a sociologist. We're excited once again to have our guest in the studio, Pastor Clement Dlamini, whom is also called Pastor Clay. Welcome, of course.
Thanks, Director. Thank you. I'm glad to be here again. And it's nice, very good discussions.
Yeah. So our viewers were looking forward to once again to have a much insightful discussions. You can be part of our conversations again by liking and commenting and sharing our channel, so that you become part of our conversations again as we continue to dissecting issues that are social and issues that are pertinent to our daily lives. So even today we shall delve much on such issues, and also would like you to be part of those conversations and comment in the comment section, telling us how was the conversation and how we want us to improve, so that all of us can actually benefit from these insightful conversations. Because we're approaching the festive season now, and the hype is on us. Everyone is buying things, everyone is there, and some of us are now winding up and going to our different families. To you, what it means when we're getting into this time?
Festive season, Director, is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You are raising the issue of festive season. I was actually having a small discussion with someone recently about the very same thing.
Yeah.
That festive season becomes so busy that we find ourselves spending what we don't have, just to ensure that we appease, or we get people excited about that.
Yeah.
A very, very few days. And then we've eaten all the food, we've spent all the money, and January comes and we are all broke. And now we have our hands on our heads because we don't have money.
I think what excites me the most is the hype behind it. As we are saying that we oftentimes spend something that we don't have.
Yeah.
I think one would actually want to know what goes into planning around this time. How can one ensure that with the hype going on and with everything going on and the excitement, but we still remain disciplined in terms of planning for our finances, and also making sure that when January approaches, which is actually a few weeks away, we are more than prepared to face life during that time.
Unfortunately, when you talk about planning for festive season in December,
there's no plan you can come up with.
There's no plan. Really, I think the best plan that you can make now as a family or as an individual is to say to yourself, I'm not going to spend what I don't have.
Okay.
And I'm not going to try and excite people for one day. I mean, festive season for people is largely Christmas Day and Boxing Day. Or maybe the hype around crossing over to the New Year. And then we overexpend ourselves. So I would say to people, let's not use what we don't have really. and if we can now, because others maybe get 13 checks, if there are those who get 13 checks, or others get bonuses. I would start by saying, take part of the bonus, invest it in school fees or the things you will need in January, and then the residual, then you can have fun with it. Otherwise, we are going to see sparks are going to fly in January.
Speaking of which, I think you are raising a very important issue there. So, in your family, do you actually have budget sessions as a family?
Nah, we don't have. No, we don't have it.
Okay.
But there is a plan that we make, because we know in December there is definitely Christmas, and there is because crossover is just crossover for us as the adults, but the children, they wait until midnight, and then by the time it's 11, they are all sleeping. But we do plan for time out, vacation, and other things, just to get some time to rest, because I this is my belief. If I rest in Eswatini and say I'm going to have a rest in Eswatini, I'm literally applying for for speaking engagements. I'm applying for Christmas services. So I usually try and run away from Eswatini for that period, even if I'm right here in Nelspruit or away from home. Then I get to rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how much it means to you to have that time for you to reflect and recharge? Because I think as someone who is so much invested in the work that you do and in the people that you service, from time to time you really need that time.
Yeah.
So how much value it is to you to actually make sure that you do that?
Very, very, very. It's one of the times in the year that I look forward to. We usually take some time out with the kids.
Okay.
Or we first start with the older kids, the go-go's, and we spend some time with them, and then we take some time away with our children and ensure that we just have at least a week together, with no friends or cousins and other people, just the four of us. It's four of us. We spend time, we play games, we travel together. There's a lot of, we call them family game nights, where we compete and we share stories about discipline. Others cry when they lose. We explain, when losing, life is like that. Life will teach you to lose sometimes. We make valuable lessons, and then we spend time playing with the children, and it really excites them. They actually speak about it from the beginning of the year, that December is coming, we are going to have some time out. So even if we don't have the money, we have to make means to. So what we then do, we then plan for it from the beginning of the year to say, we have a vacation coming, where are we planning on going? But if then within the year, maybe we don't meet our target or the budget, then we settle for a place that we can afford. We've never owed a vacation. We've never spent more than what we had bargained for our vacation, because we've even taught the kids to say, if we don't have enough, obviously children will not understand. But we explain to them that we can't afford to go to Durban. There's not enough money, but we can go to Mhlume or anywhere else, as long as we create an environment where we are together.
So really, it is important for one
definitely.
To actually spend time and unwind.
Yes, but I'm not sure whether it's recharging, but it's unwinding.
Lovely, man. I think also what I want to understand, because around this time we see so much conflict in terms of in-laws and families. And balancing the time.
Sure.
I think most of us around this time, we want to spend the time with our extended families. But then you will find that the young ones, they then complain that, especially our wives, the mid-years ones, they will sometimes complain that they want to spend time with their own family, which is the family that we've started. So we see so much conflict in terms of the in-laws wanting their son and the daughter-in-law coming over, and the children. Whereas the family is also making plans for themselves to say, my husband and I will be going out on vacation with the children. So how then do you strike the balance to ensure that your in-laws and your family, they enjoy the time, and also, but you are not neglecting your responsibility as a family?
It's you were asking this question. It's a very serious issue, because what people don't understand is that if I speak as a pastor, let me maybe use the pastor hat now. So as a pastor, we know that in Genesis, the Bible says, and then a man shall leave his father's house
and cling
and be joined to. And I like the one that says joined. Maybe the clinging is a nice one, but the joined one, and be joined. So if you look at it from that imperative, you see that there is a leaving and a cleaving. And a joining. Maybe like the clinging, and the joining together. So what that happens then? You are forming now a nuclear family. That now has its own dictates. Which as a man you must take responsibility as a head, of your wife, and then be responsible to run that unit.
Okay.
And ensure that these people that you have a responsibility over are fathered, parented, and you become a husband, and they become sons and daughters in the family. So when that happens, you form what you call your own family culture.
Yes.
Or maybe form is a lighter way. You establish
concrete.
Yes, a structure. But I like what you said. Without necessarily cutting the line or tethering the line that connects you to your in-laws, and that connects to your own family, right? But once you do that, then you explain, because you must explain. You have a responsibility now. You've got a family that's looking up to you and that wants to enjoy your company. So you explain to your family, or you come to a compromise.
Okay.
Then during the festive season, it doesn't hurt, director, that this year you spend time with your whole family, visit the in-laws and whatnot, and then the following year you are away with your children, or you are away after Christmas.
Okay.
If for them it is important for the whole extended family to be together, if it's important for them.
So it's a point of compromise.
Yeah, it's a compromise, because it may not be important for your children to go and spend time with the elder. And I know someone who's watching may be saying, Fundis is saying it's not important, but you all have a family responsibility.
Okay.
So that negotiation and compromise then is valid, because they know you have a responsibility to these people.
Okay.
Yeah. Myself, I don't force my children to go to Gogo's place. But Gogo demands that they come to her place, because she says they are my grandchildren. So then if that happens, then we have to sit down with Gogo and see, because I only have Gogo now, with Mkulu is not there.
Yeah.
So then I have to negotiate and say, okay, they will come for a week, spend a week with you, and then we will spend Christmas, and then we are going to travel with the kids.
Okay.
There have been years where Christmas has been spent away, actually, largely. Since the kids came, actually, we spent most of our Christmas away from the elder.
Okay.
But because Coco understands the term you used, unwinding, she knows the demands of work. She knows that if I'm here, she even says to me, I know when you guys are here, it will be like you're still away, because you'll be on posters speaking the whole vacation. But by the time you open at work, you are still tired.
Okay.
So then that compromise, director, is important, but it must be negotiated
and
communicated on time.
Yeah, because I'm raising that because I've seen so much conflict when it comes and surround that issue.
Oh, there's a lot of
I think there are even trends that you will see from the young Makotis that they then begin to make in a bid to avoid going to their
in-laws.
To their in-laws. So, but I think it's a valid point that you are raising, that as the head of the family, you need to communicate that both to your own family and your in-laws and the family that you belong to.
Mama's boy, so so you understand.
Yeah.
But because I don't want to belabor the point, but because there was a year when we decided we were here on Christmas. On Christmas Day, my wife wanted to be with the extended family at home. They'd organize a Christmas event at home. Yeah. So we decided she went home. We went to my mom's. We took her out for lunch, Christmas lunch. It was me and my brother. My wife was away. When she came back in the evening, we tried, but everyone was already tired. So my old lady had to understand that people are tired.
Yeah.
You see, but doesn't mean that they are happy with it.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that it pleases them all the time.
True.
Sometimes they need also to compromise for us, so that we can be able to build our own families. Because you don't want to sit with a Makoti that's angry.
That's very true. You know what? I'm actually intrigued, because the issue which we're discussing now, I've seen so many mother-in-laws that are actually owning their sons, and they don't want to release them.
Yeah.
I think the mother-in-laws who are watching us now, they will need a piece of advice, and understanding of the issue, what goes into the releasing of your son to start their own family. Yeah. So I think dissect for us what it means when we're saying you are to leave and then cling to your own family. Specifically when it comes now to our mothers, because I think we have rightfully said it, that with our mothers we become mama's boys. They actually want to own you even if you are grey on your hair, but still they want to own you as their own child. Whereas you have got now a responsibility as a husband now to lead your own family and your own wife.
And it's interesting, one day we'll have to sit down and even explain that connection between, because there's a scientific connection between a mother. It doesn't matter whether it's a daughter or a son. There's a connection. The fact that you spend 9 months in the womb of a woman.
True.
There's always that perpetual connection of things that are flowing into the baby, to the mother, and that remains as a signature in the life of the mother, especially the mother.
Okay.
So let I say you are saying what we need to understand is parents must understand that letting go of your son doesn't mean losing them.
Okay.
If you read Exodus 20, I think verse number 12, we will have to check whether I'm quoting the right script. But it says, honor your mother and your father, so that your days may be long on earth. So that element of honor does not necessarily then mean clinging, that I should cling to my mother. But it means I must respectfully honor them when they've got a need, even when they don't have a need.
Okay.
Because honor is respect.
True.
It has to do with reverence.
Yeah.
It has to do with identifying that this person is my parent.
Mm-hmm.
So when we speak to parents, we always say to them, allowing your child to become a child to you means also allowing them the liberty to be themselves.
Which is a very difficult thing, though.
Yes, it's a difficult thing for parents,
yes.
Because they then feel like if I let him go, then there are certain benefits, because there are benefits of sonship or daughtership that I would lose. But it doesn't have to be like that.
Okay.
If people understand the concept of honor and reverence, they will then understand that even though I'm now clinging or cleaving to my wife, but I still have a responsibility that makes me want to be associated with my mother and my father without tethering the relationship.
Okay.
And secondly, these parents must also have relationship with their sons-in-law and their daughters-in-law. Instead of having a relationship with the one that they gave birth to.
Yeah, true.
I know it's blood boils, right? It says blood is thicker than water.
Yeah.
But there must be a deliberate attempt from both parties to ensure that there's a seamless relationship. If I go and explain, Margaret, we are not going to be around, and you tell them, this vacation or this festive season, we are going to be with the kids. She will ask, when are you going? Yeah. We are going to go before or after Christmas, so that she prepares herself or himself. Because once that happens, it means then your wife or your husband may say, hey, you are being controlled by your parents.
Yeah.
And then undermines you, now your seat. Your seat and your position in the family will be compromised.
Yeah.
You see, immediately I go, my mother even complains if I don't call her in the week. She will call and say,
yes.
So she's literally saying, you haven't called me the whole week.
Okay.
And now I make it a point that I don't do as many visits, but I ensure that there's a proper balance between checking on you on a daily basis. Are you okay? How was your morning? Have you eaten? Have you taken if there's medication? Have you taken your medicine? Do you need to go to the doctor? Is there food in the house? It's my responsibility because I don't have a father.
Okay.
So I can't then neglect those duties. And my wife understands that I have an obligation to take care of them.
Okay. So now, the reason why I'm laughing is that I think you can also attest that most of the relationships the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law have are relationships that are somehow hostile in nature. But then I think we need to talk to it. Yeah. My question then would be, how then do we establish the communication? I've heard you that most of the time you are the one that communicates with your mother, but I think also there's an element that we need to understand that even your wife at times need to create that relationship and talk with other things that you were not even involved in them. To ensure that there is that relationship.
Fortunately for me, I don't have a problem there. Maybe someone will have a problem. I think my wife has made a very fair attempt to interact with my mom, even without me. I just hear, I went to see mom and we were discussing 1, 2, and 3, and I've already been sacrificed as a lamb there without me knowing. I'm just being told we are doing this. I went to see mom about this. And I also make a fair attempt. Even though mine, I always confess, I'm not as outgoing as she is when it comes to relating with my mother. But I know what my mother-in-law likes, so if I need to get into a good books, I know what to do. But you are right to say she has to make an attempt to have conversation independently of me or autonomously, and I have to do the same thing. And it doesn't have to be me pushing her. Go and see my mother. That's not, because if I push her, she's not doing it out of the kindness of her heart. But there's a compilation. She's being compelled. Wrong English. She's being compelled to do it.
Lovely, Ben. I think the conversations are exciting, and please let us remember we need to strike a balance between our own families that we've established, but not neglecting the families which we are coming from. So now we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue where we have left. Remember, the podcast is the Blue Heart Podcast, brought to you by Natic, and it is always exciting to interact and to converse with you through our interactions and through the comment sections. Let's be back. Stay tuned.
It's the history of the church that around Christmas time we spend time remembering what Christmas means. And then you find that in the period when we are closed from work, for those who close their work, we spend it largely in sanctuaries or church buildings. That exercise is laughing. And obviously because